Welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over this system of equations question that usually comes up on the math part of the SAT. Once again, thanks to Anico.ai for providing this question in their free resources tab. But before I get started with the explanation here, please give it a try yourself. Okay, so here we have a snack shop which buys almonds in 12-ounce bags and cashews in 1.5-pound bags. Each bag of almonds costs $5.4 and each bag of cashews costs $12. The shop buys a total of 18 pounds of nuts and spends $138. Which choice is the number of bags of almonds the shop can buy? So right away, right, there's actually a lot of parts to this question that might seem kind of hard to deal with, but once you realize how to set up a system of equations, it will actually make the answer much easier to get. So, first of all, look at what we're trying to find, right? So, we're trying to find the number of bags of almonds, right? That's our end goal here. So, we know that our end goal is to find the number of bags of almonds, right? And if you look at what the problem gives us, right, it tells us that they buy almonds in 12-ounce bags and cashews in 1.5-pound bags, right? Well, what you'll realize is that, well, they're not the same unit, right? One is in ounces and the other one is in pounds. So, what you would do as a result is convert into one unit, right? One consistent unit. In this case, right, I think the best approach here is to convert into pounds because it also tells us that the total amount, right, the total number of pounds is 18, right? It gives us a pounds representation. So that's why I think using pounds is the better unit here. And as a result, you should convert 12 ounces to pounds. Now, if you don't know the conversion, that's fine because they give you that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. So if 1 pound, right, is equal to 16 ounces, right? Then, well, how many pounds is 12 ounces, right? That's a proportion. So you cross multiply and you get that that's going to be 0.75, right? 0.75 pounds. So now we know that the snack shop buys almonds in 0.75-pound bags. And now, right, some people actually still struggle because they don't know how to set up the right system. Well, if you looked at the title of this video, I called it, right, to stay loyal, right, to the totals. What I mean by that is look at the totals here, right? They tell us the total number of pounds and the total number of dollars, right? So we have pounds on one end, and then we have dollars on the other end, right? So now why is that useful? Well, because we know what each specific bag adds to that total value, right? So for example, we know that each almond bag adds 0.75 pounds, right? So let's say that X, actually, well, let's use A. Let's say that A was the number of almond bags, right? And let's say that B was the number of cashew bags, right? Well, in that case, right, 0.75A, right, would give us the total pounds that only the almond bags contribute to the total. And I think it will make more sense if I write this entire equation down for the first one, right? So the first one, right, we have 0.75 pounds for almonds plus how many pounds do the cashew bags contribute? Well, they contribute 1.5 pounds, right? So you do that, right? Plus 1.5 B, right? And what's the total cost, right? I told you, follow the total, right? Just be loyal to the total. In this case, that's going to be 18 pounds, right? That's the total amount. So here, that's 18. And now, how do I'm going to kind of talk about where I got this equation from. Well, this is the total, number of pounds, right? This is the 0.75 here is the uh, number of it's the pounds per almond bag, right? It's the weight in pounds for each almond bag. So each almond bag, and then 1.5 here, that's the weight in pounds for each cashew bag, right? Well, now if you think about it, right, 0.75, which is the which is the pounds for each almond bag. If you multiply that by the number of almond bags, well then this entire value here gives you the total number of pounds that only the almond bags contribute. Then we have 1.5 cashew bags. That gives us the total number of pounds that the cashew bags contribute. And if you add those two totals, well, then you get a total weight of 18 pounds, right? Because it tells us that the total the shop buys is 18. So that's kind of where I'm getting this expression from, right? But now, right, of course, it's a system, so that means we also have another expression, and that's the dollars. Use a similar logic, right? So here, they tell us that each almond bag costs $5.4, so that's $5.4 times A, right? Because that's the almonds, plus how much do each cashew bag cost? Well, that's going to be $12, right? So 5.48 plus 12B, that equals, right? Remember, be loyal to the total. In this case, what's the total cost? It's $138. And now look, right? We have two different equations. We can essentially now put this into Desmos. So let's type that in. Instead of using A, I'm going to use X here because Desmos doesn't like uh, variables other than X and Y if you're trying to plot a graph. And for B, I'll use Y. So that's one, right? And then the other one is 5.4x plus 12y equals 138. If you zoom out and try to find the intersection of these, right, that's going to be at the point 10 comma 7. So these graphs, they intersect at the point 10 comma 7, right? And that's A equals 10 and B equals 7. Well, what are we trying to find? We're trying to find the number of almond bags, right? Remember, that was A. We're trying to find the value of A here, right? Well, that's just going to be 10, right? That's what we found. So A equals 10, and the answer choice here is B. So, what's the most important thing to take away from this problem? Well, it's going to be the fact that you have to stay loyal to the totals, right? Always add up to the totals, right? And the reason I say that is because you might be confused. Like you'll see a 12-ounce bag here, right? You'll see a bunch of numbers. But if you look at if you look at the total values they give us, right? In this case, they give us the pounds and money. Well, you know that you have to work towards creating an equation that has the same units as the total, right? So as a result, right, that's why I took this ounce here and I converted it into pounds, right? Because the total, right, remember, follow the total, right, was in pounds. So yeah, anytime you have these system of equations with different units, always look at your total so you know what unit to use in the end, what unit is consistent, and set up a system, and that will get you the right answer 100% of the time, right? But I hope that made sense. If it didn't, of course, please leave any questions you have down in the comments. Click on that subscribe and hit that like button. We post videos here daily to help you on your SAT and ACT prep. So if you want to be notified when they come out, click on that notification bell. But I really, again, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.